look, Spurs had the chances. There was some good goalkeeping, some really good saves in there to keep it, keep a clean sheet. But it was more impressive that Arsenal managed to go there and win without their two main centre midfielders. They didn't have Rice because he was suspended. And they didn't have Ødegaard. I think he was injured. So they were operating without the core of the spine of the team, in the middle of the park, and they still went there and did it.
I'm here with Jack. We're going to review match day 4 in the Premier League and discuss about next weekend's matches as well. It was an interesting weekend, Jack.
Yeah, it was the weekend of the comebacks.
Comebacks. Nottingham Forest won against Liverpool. The last time was 55 years ago. You were probably not born then. I was, but I was little.
Yeah, that was a great win for Forest, and the comebacks. It was exciting actually. The games are quite end to end this weekend, so lots to talk about.
Okay, let's go through the results. Tottenham, Arsenal 0-1, Wolves, Newcastle 1-2, Southampton, Man United 0-3, Brighton, Ipswich 0-0, Crystal Palace, Leicester 2-2, Fulham, West Ham 1-1, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest 0-1, Man City, Brentford 2-1, Aston Villa, Everton 3-2, and Bournemouth, Chelsea 0-1. Away win for Chelsea. What was the highlight of the weekend for you?
Yeah, there was lots of highlights because there was so many different talking points from all the different games. So you started off the weekend with Man United winning, getting back to winning ways because you had a couple of defeats. Southampton was probably the perfect place to go because they're lacking in quality, especially in the final third. Even though they put up a good fight and they missed the penalty, that
was the turning point.
That was the turning point, and they didn't take any chances, obviously, including the penalty, but from open play as well. So that was a good building point, good building block for Ten Hag to get back, back in the victories again. Obviously, I watched the Newcastle game, which was not the best performance from Newcastle, but good comeback again. And Harvey Barnes has that knack of scoring.
You mean you haven't watched the Southampton United game?
You want to talk more about that because it was a good.
No, it was an early kickoff, and you said I watched the. Obviously, I watched it.
No, I watched it. Yeah, and
I watched both matches.
Yeah. I watched most of the games. I tried to watch I like watching the early kickoff. And I always watch the Sunday games as well. But I wanted to see it because I was hopeful. Because it was under pressure, and also Southampton needed to get the first win or points. So it was anyway. They messed it up, Southampton, and then Man United came on strong, and we saw what happened. And the defence was pretty poor from Southampton. They didn't give up, but they just didn't seem to be switched on, especially when the last couple of goals went in as well, especially the third goal. So it was an impressive win, but you'd expect Man United to beat Southampton. And then I actually saw some of the Villa game as well, the Villa-Everton game. I joined it late, so I saw Everton were 2-0 up again, and then they threw it away again. And that wonder goal from John Duran, the striker, unbelievable. There was something in social media last week before the weekend's game saying we don't have these unbelievable goals as often anymore from the edge of the box. There's lots of poacher finishes inside the box, penalties, free kicks, but we don't have open play screamers from long range, or not as many. It doesn't seem to be as many. There seems to be more about getting in the positions to score rather than just taking a chance.
It's very tactical.
Very tactical and safe, very Pep. Guardiola keeping the ball, moving it around, looking for gaps. So it was refreshing to see that goal go in, and it was also refreshing to see the Harvey Barnes goal, the wonder strike, and also the shot, Fabian shot, although it took a deflection. Both Newcastle's goals are from the edge of the box. So I like to see that. We want to be entertained. We don't just want side to side, back and forward, back and forward. We want to see these goals, these moments. That's why. And it also that style of play frees up these creative players to express themselves and score these sorts of goals. You know, just have the confidence and they've got the ability, but have the confidence and have the almost permission to shoot from that range.
That's key. What you just said is the modern football. We see more and more that they take the initiative out of the players, the coaches, and we want, you know. We're not going to see the Maradonas and the Messis, in my opinion, in modern football, and it's a shame because it's at the end of the day, I know they are in the results business, the managers, otherwise they will get sacked. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. I want to go to a football match and be entertained.
Yeah, at its core, that's what it is for the fans. Obviously, it's a big business now, but that's the whole point. That's why it existed, to entertain people, for something to go and see on a weekend or on a weeknight. You know, actually get off your seat and be excited, and not think, oh, he's passed it back again. He's gone to the corner again. You know, trying to rebuild and build back to the goalkeeper again. All this craze of building from the back all the time, or just playing that safe pass, because they know if they lose the ball, the quality that players have, that they might not get it again for a few minutes. So there is also that jeopardy there, and they're thinking, well, and also I think a lot of the players these days, I don't know for sure, but this is my theory, that they rely on the stats. They live for the stats. So the passing accuracies, you know, is high for these players.
It's not the players. When the clubs, they hire, you know, a data analyst, they hire different type of specialist. It's all data, you know. In Bradford, for instance, they rely a lot of data, and they are supposedly with Michelin a league of their own regarding what they do in this regard. So it's becoming more and more, you know, very tactical. What we see on the pitch is because of what is going on during the week, the whole week.
Also seen from the other side, that is true, the tactical side, coming from the coaches, coming from the technical analysts. There's lots of them now, and you're seeing it more and more coming into the game. But also players. I read somewhere a couple of months back in pre-season, they were talking about this. Some players are using the stats to their advantage to get better deals, to move on, to compare them to other players in the team, the metrics.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, because all the scouters, they rely, when they process the information initially, before they start watching, you know, using these platforms that they are using, they look first at the stats before they start watching matches and analyzing the players live and through these platforms. So it's becoming more and more calculated. I mean, I remember, because I'm a bit older than you, I remember back in the day, the Brazilian teams, you know, natural talent, amazing to watch. And then when they started coming to Europe, the national team was watching just another European national team. It became more, and now we are getting into this era of the scientists controlling everything and feeding too much information to the players, and they're getting all this initiative out of the game, which is, in my opinion, is wrong. But this is modern football.
It is, and I do think Pep has had a big part to play in that. You've seen people like Grealish go there, real creative, real sort of just plays off the cuff, drops the shoulder and all that. You don't see it as often. He had that good season a couple of years back, but for Man City, that is. And you don't see it as often. It's happened with that new guy, Savinho, who's come in, who's replaced Mahrez. He almost looks like an identical model of him on that right wing. And you see him, he cuts back, he passes back. He doesn't take on. There's a clip from him when he played in Brazil and for Brazil, I think, in the national team. And he was taking people on, he was cutting inside, getting shots away. Now he's playing that pass back. And I don't know, the creativity seems to be sort of stifled a little bit. And I don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. Maybe it will come back in, but at the moment it's not fashionable to be as creative. It's more, like you say, the tactical thing.
Yeah, and more control football.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And of course I watched Tottenham against Arsenal.
What did you think to that one? Was that a surprise? Because Arsenal have a great record there. I think they won 3 in a row at Spurs. So,
well, it was when the match started out. It was 100 miles an hour, too many mistakes. But what I have seen is the determination of the Arsenal players. You know, for the whole match, they were so determined to get the result. It's like, you know, this is a championship mentality, in my opinion. That's why, you know, in our first episode, I said I see them as one of the favorites with Man City, but maybe this year they will manage to, you know, take it a step further and win the championship finally after so many years. But they were so together, and when the match finished, there was this close-up of Arteta and the support staff all hugging each other like a big group. So this is, it shows something to my eye, that they are really determined to win the league this year.
I know it was the big derby, the big North London derby, but they did seem up for it. They seemed pumped. They seemed almost, well, especially as the game went on, they were first to the second ball.
Yeah.
They were going into challenges, but and also
they were tracking back.
Yeah, they were tracking back.
They were really. I mean, they were losing the ball in the final third, and you could see all the players, like, you know, it was like a big orchestra. It was really fascinating to watch.
I think it was, look, Spurs had the chances. There was some good goalkeeping, some really good saves in there to keep it, keep a clean sheet. But it was more impressive that Arsenal managed to go there and win without their 2 main centre midfielders. They didn't have Rice because he was suspended, and they didn't have Odegaard. I think he was injured. So they were operating without the core of the spine of the team, in the middle of the park, and they still went there and did it. I know that Spurs did play well in patches, but towards the end, Arsenal seemed fitter. They
were lacking. It looks like they were lacking that, final decision to when to shoot, when to. It was like something that was missing.
They weren't clicking. There was no connections at the top, and obviously for the corner as well. It was absolute abysmal defending.
It was. I don't know what they were doing.
They just weren't. They weren't marking. He was brushed off Romero, and it was just a free header, wasn't it?
It was a free header.
And I saw from last season it was their Achilles heel, because they've not. Postecoglou and his team have not managed to resolve that yet, because last season they said they conceded 16 goals from set pieces that were not penalties. I think it was something like 23, including penalties. They just concede too many. And free kicks, it just seems too many from a corner, that they just don't pick up the man, or they don't concentrate, or I don't know what's going on. But you can't afford to give away goals that easily, because they take away half of those goals. Where would that have left them in the table? They could have maybe been in the Champions League. That's the difference between those points.
Exactly. And one thing that we see even more the last few years, a lot of teams they don't have an out-and-out striker, centre forward. There's big discussion in Cyprus, about the centre forwards, and some teams, top teams, they haven't recruited centre forwards, and why this is happening. We have seen this in Euro as well. Most of the national teams, they didn't have an out-out striker, apart from Spain. Most probably the other teams they don't have, and it was, if somebody who was new into football was watching the match the other day, Spurs and Arsenal, who was the centre forward? Who was it?
For either side.
For either side.
It wasn't obvious, was it? It was so fluid at the front line, people moving around.
Liverpool.
And Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Jota he doesn't stay in the middle. He sort of goes off, and then Salah sort of comes into the gap, and it's sort of free flowing at the top of the park. Yeah.
Okay. On the other side, we have Haaland, and he keeps scoring all the time.
He's got 9 now, hasn't he? 9 already. 9 goals. I sorry to the Everton fans again, because I do pick on them, but I did see a stat and it was before last weekend, but because they both scored 2 goals, Everton and Haaland, it still applies. Since Haaland has come into the Premier League, just Haaland, he's only scored 6 fewer goals than Everton. So Everton have only scored 6 more as a club than Haaland has since he's come into the Premier League. That's incredible stat.
Where did you get these stats?
Yeah, I know. I just plucked them out there, but no, I heard that one or read that one somewhere, and I double checked it. It's true, and it's quite shocking. But it just shows you not just how bad Everton have been, but how unbelievable Haaland has been. He's just a goal machine, isn't he? He just pops up and there he is. And I noticed that goal. Did you see the second goal he scored when it was Ederson? The long pass. It was almost like a long ball from the lower leagues. You know, like my team, Northampton would have. They just pump it forward, and then he was just suddenly brushed off the defender and he was through.
He has the physique. He's
so strong.
I was talking to somebody yesterday. Said, he was telling me that when the national team came to Cyprus, he got close to him and he was really scared. He thought that he was a bouncer.
Well, I went to that game. I went to that game in Larnaca, and he was just like a freak compared to the defenders. It was just like a man against boys. It really genuinely was. Definitely was the case. And it doesn't matter if you're an athletic, strong, international centre back. It doesn't matter. He can just brush you off.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just a beast, isn't he?
Exactly.
Physically, and also he doesn't miss hardly any chances. That's the difference. Yeah. Like Spurs have recruited that player Solanke. He scored lots of goals last season, but he did. He had a chance. He had a half chance. He took the extra touch. Haaland would have just got his shot away. I know for a fact, or he would have brought somebody else into play to score. And they had another chance where he headed it just not convincing, not that star quality that maybe Spurs needed. And Haaland just showed again at the weekend how he's just so clinical.
A few months ago, Solskjaer, in an interview, I think it was in Overlap, he said that he suggested Haaland to the Man United scouting team. I hope they're not there anymore.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and they were all shocked. Like, seriously, and there was no action taken, and they could have got him for quite a good price as well back then.
They were going to get him on the cheap.
Yeah, when he was at Molde.
Exactly.
What a mistake! But
which is another very important part in modern football, the recruitment process.
It all starts from there, doesn't it? It all starts from there, the stepping stones.
They pay millions and millions for transfer fees, and they don't have proper recruitment teams to analyze and bring in the players that they just gel between them, and you have a really strong squad. So I'm talking about big clubs. I'm not talking about some average clubs in countries like Cyprus. So, and it is really surprising because you expect the Liverpools and the Man Uniteds and the Chelsea. We're not going to discuss about Chelsea.
Not in terms
I don't know what they are doing.
Don't. Yeah, their strategies are different.
So it's this is very important, and I think it's. Apart from Guardiola and the structure there, the support that he has, it's been really very important part of Man City's success the last few years. You mentioned Everton, 0 points, Southampton as well. So they need to start picking up points. Otherwise, it will become a really a psychological burden. And it's very easy to get into that relegation zone and don't manage to get out of it until the end of the season. We have seen it in previous years. So what do you think?
Yeah, you can't go too many games at the start of the season without winning a game. I mean, it's rare that you go, say, 5, because it's 4 games already without any wins or without any points. If you go 5, 6, 7, 8 games, it's really looking bad then. And then you're looking into sort of damage limitation rather than going down. It's just like not going down with hardly any points. But I think I read another stat. I got one, but it was something like, I think it was 66 years. So let's say over 60 years since they last lost the first 4 games of the season. I mean, that's a long time, even for the struggles they've had in recent years. They've got a huge game next week. Next weekend they're playing away at Leicester, I believe. So that's already a 6-pointer, as they say. You know, it could go either way, and it could really determine it could be the break one of those 2 teams needs to get going. So it's not looking good for them at the moment. It's they missed a few chances. They could have actually, to be honest, in any of the 4 games they played, they could have, if they took their chances and just not made silly errors at the back, they could have got more points. They could have won a couple of the games at least. They certainly could have won away at Villa. They missed Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed a really good chance where he sort of fumbled in front of the keeper when he should have gone.
But they need to find a way when they get in front to close down the match and
to not lose their heads or their concentration.
Yeah, exactly.
They still, even then, in the last minute, they had a chance. In extra time, they added time. Calvert-Lewin hit the bar, you know, when he was sort of through on goal. You saw the manager's reaction at the end of the game. He just looked like, what can I do? I mean, it was just, I don't know. He just looked aghast, really. Just like, I can't believe what happened. But it could come back from Villa. But I think teams now realise that because of the last 2 games, if you go 2-0 down or even 1-0 down against Everton, you think, well, you know, you've seen them collapse before. It's not the end of the world. You know, you got a chance of coming back again. So I think Villa saw from last week when they were 2-0 down, they lost 3-2, that, well, it's all right. We'll just keep going, keep pressing, because it was impressive that they built that lead. They built 2-0 leads in last 2 weekends. That's impressive. But it's not enough, is it? They need to learn how to consolidate and not just throw away all those points. And that could be really costly already.
Even though we are only 4 matches into the season, it looks like the table is shaping up as expected.
Yeah, it is.
Man City, Arsenal, your team, Newcastle, Liverpool.
Can we just stop? Can we just stop the count, as they say? Can we just stop the season now? I'm happy with it. Newcastle 3rd, Man United, I think, well, they're 10th or something at the moment. I mean, 6 points, a long way off. 6 points off the top, a long way off. But one thing I wanted to point out, because it was another interesting thing from the weekend, is the Bournemouth-Chelsea game. Now, I was out, but I was out in like a bar. But when I was looking up at the TV, I kept seeing every 5 minutes a yellow card, a yellow card. It turns out the Bournemouth-Chelsea game was the record ever in the Premier League era for yellow cards. There's 14 yellow cards in that match. So that was interesting.
And now that you mention it, I expected that we were going to have a red card in the Tottenham Arsenal match.
Yeah, with some of the tackles going in as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of yellow cards in the first few minutes of the match, so we expected somebody's going to get because if the tackles are flying, then it is very easily can get the second one.
That's true. The problem with the Chelsea game is, from what I realised when I watched it back to see, there was a video showing every single yellow card, and what the problem was is the referee, the first couple of yellow cards he gave were for sort of, I wouldn't say minor challenges, but they were he set a benchmark for a yellow card, and then he just had to keep to that consistency because everything was then a yellow card because he had to apply that rule.
Some referees they do it on purpose, usually in the beginning of the matches to control the match. But
he just carried on flashing the cards, and I think there was a red card in the end.
This weekend we have on Saturday West Ham, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Wolves. It's a local derby.
That's a good one, that one.
Fulham, Newcastle, Leicester, Everton, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Southampton, Ipswich, Tottenham, Brentford, and Crystal Palace, Man United, and the Sunday Brighton, Nottingham Forest, and Man City, Arsenal.
Oh, yeah, it's a great game, that, wasn't it? Already start the season to see those two teams come up against each other. Arsenal are on fire at the moment. You know, I know they had that draw at home. I think it was against Brentford.
So you are predicting an away win?
I honestly, I don't want to just say a draw because I want it to be entertaining. I want it to be, lots of goals.
It would be a 3-3.
It could be a 3-3. It could be a 3-3. How do you stop Haaland? How do you stop De Bruyne when he's in form? It depends if he recovers from his injury, Odegaard, because he's key in the centre, centre of the midfield. So
yeah, but
it's really tough.
Arsenal, they're not giving away much. So They are really hard to score against.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, I've watched loads of these big games. The big, whoever they are at the time, whether it's Man United and Liverpool, whether it's Arsenal or Chelsea, whether it's Man City, Arsenal, they've always been cagey. Not all of them, but a lot of them tend to be cagey.
They are either very exciting or they are very boring to watch.
Yeah, it can go
very
either way.
Tactical and very. They play the safe.
Yeah, I mean,
but but the thing is, we're not. It's only the beginning of the season, so
maybe they'll be a bit freer and play a bit more open. But yeah, I can't. I'd love to see it. I just want to see it. Well, I want to see, like we said about being entertained earlier. I just want to see the goals fly in and the quality to be, because that's what it is. They're the two best teams in the country, aren't they? They have been for a couple of seasons now. We want to see their top players come to bring that quality, bring that entertainment, and hopefully be a really good game. That's what I hope. Not like, oh, let's just make sure we don't lose. We want to see them go for it, and hopefully they do. Who do you think might get? Do you think Man City? Do you think Haaland? Do you think the defence?
They would probably edge it.
Man City edge it. Yeah.
Probably, I don't know.
Let's see how Arsenal's fitness really is, because obviously they came on strong against Spurs, but against Man City at the Etihad, it's not.
And we have the Champions League matches. I don't know who's playing this weekend, but we have the new league format as well. So
yeah, we've got the Champions League, so let's see how that plays.
Yeah. Another more thing that I want to mention is that we discussed about the Wrexham project, and it looks like somebody watched my comments or your comments. Konstantinos, if you are watching, please DM us, and we'll be glad to have you on the pod here with us. He was really excited that we started talking about the Championship and League One and League Two. And last night I had a very interesting derby.
Yeah, it was like the American derby.
Birmingham and Wrexham.
Yeah. Star-studded people in the crowd, didn't you? You had Hardy, you had Beckham, you had all these people, the big guns.
Gary Neville.
Gary Neville. I saw the commentator said all the stars of Hollywood are here and Gary Neville, which made me laugh.
Well, he has so much energy. It's unbelievable. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Up and down. I mean,
surely you think he'd make the most of no Monday night football for the Premier League, but no, he still wants to go and watch a game. So fair play to him for that. Yeah. No, it was a good game. It was really fast tempo, and my team. I'm wearing one of the shirts here. My team, Northampton, in that division, and some of the fans were commenting on the game from a forum I was on, and they were saying, "Blimey, this is really good level. This is Championship level. This is." They were playing both the teams at really quick pace, and the quality. It just shows you the quality at that level, even at League One, the third division down level. So my team are going to struggle when they play. I think they play Wrexham away very soon.
Yeah, but these two teams, I think they are one of the favourites to.
I would be surprised if both of them don't go up. At least one of them, but definitely both of them. They should go up. Because Birmingham have just spent 14 million on the striker who scored the goals yesterday, Stansfield, and they've got players, Wrexham, who wouldn't even get
20 million. 20, I think it was 20,
up to 20 million. Yeah, after all the add-ons, it's just insane money. You can build stadiums
for
with
a third division. Let's repeat it: a third division team.
Third division. Have they ever spent 20 million on anything in Cyprus when it comes to a player?
No.
So, I mean, that just shows you the difference.
No way.
And these teams are playing in Europe in Cyprus, so it just shows. Just shows you the money that's there from these American owners. Yeah. I'm not sure the money. I don't know who's got more money out of Birmingham or Wrexham. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Birmingham. I'm not sure, but they've both got a lot of money, haven't they? The two clubs, the owners.
And also, I was reading this article about this. I don't know how they managed to get the information in that they have this result, but these supercomputers, whatever they are called, apparently the computer said that the Wrexham is going to win the league.
I wouldn't be surprised. They've obviously looked at the quality of the squad and the form.
Yeah, but we are too early in the season. I mean, there are so many matches.
I don't know how the supercomputers come up with that.
Yeah, yes.
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I said earlier, I think they're going to be if they're outside the top 2 places, automatic promotion places, then it's probably a failure because of the money they spend. They're expected to be up there, aren't they? And Birmingham as well. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's good to see that people are watching and they're interested in the lower leagues as well, because that's the part of the pyramid. It's important.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, in last episode, I made a comment about scouters from outside England, that there are a lot of, I don't know if they can get these type of players in leagues like Cyprus, for instance, but with the budgets that the top teams in Cyprus are having right now, I'm sure they will be able to get a couple of players from that league. I'm not sure if they want to come, but there are some really good quality players in the 3rd division.
Yeah, in the 3rd division and below.
I know it's called League One, but it's the 3rd division.
Yeah, it's a silly name. I've never really liked that name. But the thing about the EFL, as they now call it, even though it's called the English Football League, even though it has Welsh teams in it, which is just, again, quite silly, but that they've had so many players come through and they've ended up playing for England. I think at the Euros we had loads of players from the EFL, the Football League, who were at one stage in those lower divisions. Your Carl Walker was at Northampton, you had Ivan Toney, Northampton, you had Ollie Watkins, he was at Exeter once upon a time in the lower divisions, and you got Jordan Pickford, he was in the Football League on loan, and you had Harry Maguire, he wasn't at the Euros, but key player. All these players, John Stones, Barnsley, all these players have come up from the lower leagues, and they've shown it. They've come through either academies or they've just been locally scouted, and they end up at the big teams, the big club.
And also, I think, if I remember right, I mentioned the goalkeeper of Wrexham. He's on loan from Arsenal. Exceptional talent.
Exceptional talent. They were talking about how good he's been all season. He hadn't conceded a goal, and then commentators curse. He spilled the goal.
Yeah, but he was there with Wrexham last year as well. He was really consistent, solid performances. And he's not gonna.
He's not a robot. He's not going to be perfect every week.
And he's not just a goalkeeper. It's the way that the whole team defends.
Exactly, and protects the defense.
Exactly. But he's really solid. Some amazing saves, and I think the Wrexham people didn't expect that he would continue with them. Probably they do have quite a few other goalkeepers at Arsenal. But he is really exceptional, and it's somebody, like you mentioned Pickford, that maybe in a few years' time he would be a first-team regular in the Premier League with one of the top teams. You never know.
You never know. They have to start somewhere, don't they? And by playing every week, they're only going to improve. And also, when you're playing in these
especially in that position.
Yeah, in that position, you're gonna. I know they're one of the better teams in the division, but he's always going to face. Because they're quite an attacking team, they do leave gaps at the back. He's going to face shots. He's going to face, one-on-one chances, and it's going to have pressure on him and physical pressure from corners. It's going to make you a better player.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where a lot of the talent is born in the Football League. So, who's going to be the next lot? Let's see. In 5 years' time, maybe in the next England squad for World Cups, Euros, there'll be more players who are playing now in the 3rd division, 4th division. Let's see.
Okay. So please leave us a comment if you want us to discuss the championship as well. It's some interesting teams in that league as well. So, and big clubs.
Very big clubs, yeah. Very big, who traditionally been the top division teams. So.
Yeah, exactly. In the Premier League, and as we mentioned before in the last episode. So it's really exciting and what is amazing, you see full stadiums, right? I think the difference, I mean, if you compare it with this island, is that you have one club, Northampton. It's a whole city behind it. Wrexham, a whole city behind it. And Birmingham, okay, we have, Coventry, which is next door. But
Coventry, Leicester.
Yeah, but of course, it's part of your culture as British people, football is, but it's big here in Cyprus as well. but it's not the same. It's now you see a lot of people now that they're not going to the matches. They just they're couch potatoes. Watching the matches on TV, but it's part of the routine of the. I mean, it looks like, and you can tell me that it's like when you grow up, it's part of your the whole nation, the culture of the whole nation.
It's like a routine, and every Saturday, because obviously traditionally all the games are on a Saturday, but let's say every weekend, but every Saturday, everyone's consuming it. They're not just they're going either down the pub for a drink before the game, they're going for a pie, they're going talking with their mates, making a bet maybe about the games. And then I know they do that in Cyprus too, but before the game it's an experience. You don't just go to the stadium and then go home. You do other things. You catch up with people, you go into the shop, you buy a shirt, you buy a scarf, whatever. Not every time, but you go in and have a look around, and it's the whole day. Or for away games, because obviously the difference between maybe here and England is the away attendances are really strong at all levels. They have coaches and coaches of fans who meet up 5, 6, 7 in the morning to go to the away games.
We are not talking about 80 kilometers and talking about
3, 4, 5, 6
from
hours
Manchester to go to Southampton.
Yeah, and they pack full of people. They all go down on the train or on the coaches or in the cars. They share the cars. And it's a whole big day out. It's a lot of money people spend on these of all levels. They go from right in the south to right almost to Scotland, almost some of the teams, that how far up they are.
Yeah, but I mean, third division clubs, and you see 15,000, 20,000. It's really amazing.
And you see 1, 2, sometimes 3,000 away supporters from those clubs as well. Really, really impressive. And I think it's like that thing because it's lots of different communities. Lots of, like you say, lots of towns, lots of cities. They have one club, and that's all there is. That you're that team because you're from there, you're born there. That's why you support that team. You follow your parents and grandparents who went to the games, and you bring your kids along. It's almost like a big family in a way, even though you don't really always talk to the other people there. You just go there, you feel like you're part of a bigger collective, a bigger community. And actually attendances are through the roof in whole of England, not just Premier League, all the way down. There seems to be more people than ever going to the ground watching it. Even though there's more games on TV, it doesn't seem to have affected it too much. It's more popular than ever. So long may it continue, because when you're watching it on TV, because I can't go to all the games because I'm out here, but when I do watch them, it's great to see full stadiums or mostly full stadiums, and because you've got the atmosphere, you can sense it, and when you can hear the roar of the crowd when the goal goes in. It's just, that's what we missed when it was COVID and there was nobody in the stadiums. You do really realise how much the fans make a difference, and there's chants and everything. You can just hear it. Different grounds have the different personalities and things like that.
And as a last comment, this is one of the things I don't like about VAR. When the team score a goal and you're jumping up and down, and then you are waiting for somebody in a box to check it out, and then everybody's waiting.
I completely agree. I mean, I'm getting excited about all the fans, but maybe I'm more reminiscing about before VAR, because that's what it was like all the time. Now it's like that some of the time. We just want it back. We just want to be able to enjoy the moment, enjoy the goal. That it's a goal, unless the linesman's got his flag up, it's a goal. That's
okay, I understand they need to make changes in the rules, but clear offside, and they're waiting for somebody for the movement to be completed before they have the flag up.
Maybe that semi-automated will help. Strangely, it's not come into the Premier League yet. It's going to come in soon, a couple of match days' time. They should have been had it from the beginning, they do in UEFA competitions.
Exactly. They need to go into the next step and make everything. I'm all for it regarding technology. Okay. Because otherwise we have before we had endless discussions, this was offside, it was clear offside, and this and that and the other, dubious decisions by the referees. But it corrects a lot of errors. But at the same time, it should be more efficient. Let's make it fully automated.
It should be a lot quicker. If it's not going to go back we're not going to go back to before technology, unfortunately. As much as I wanted to, ideal scenario that would be the case. But if you're going to have all this discussion, if you talk about the referee and the VAR every game after every game in the analysis, it just gets boring and it takes the fun out of it. If it can be quicker, I noticed it was a lot quicker in the Euros, in the Champions League last season. It was quicker. The semi-automated. Yeah. If there'll eventually be a way of fully automating it, like when they have the buzzing on the watch when the ball goes over the line.
At least this year, Jack, we have this. They cleared out about the handball. In the Premier League.
That was frustrating.
In the Premier League.
The case before, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, before it was. It was really stupid. The defenders, they need to have their hands at the back all the time because they were afraid if the ball touches their hands, it would be a penalty. I mean, at least now they clear this unnatural position, and because before we had endless discussion, it was a penalty, it's not a penalty, it was a natural position. What is a natural? What is a natural position?
It's so crazy to have this.
You're a defender. You're a defender.
Yeah. It's just and it affects the game, the mindset, the gameplay. Managers will be telling players to keep their hands behind the back. It just looks silly. It's just hideous.
Of course, it is. Okay, let's leave it here until the next episode.